Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, I want to talk about Palantir stock. So Palantir Technology, ticker symbol PLTR. I have made already two videos about Palantir. In the first video that I did, I was explaining you what in my opinion can be the fair price to buy Palantir. If you remember, I drawn you this green rectangular figure over there and the stock was around here, but it looks like that it came back down, okay, and it's kind of stabilizing in this green square. As you know, I have already opened a position on Palantir stock. First bought around 21, then when it dropped on the actually negative days 10 days ago, I bought around $20.8 per share. However, I'm planning to buy even more if the stock actually goes below $20. The previous video that I made on Palantir was actually the bull case scenario, right? So the kind of $1 trillion scenario, what Palantir can do to achieve it. If you are interested in it, just leave you the link of the video down in the description below. But in this video I want to show you my base case scenario, okay? So my honest price target for Palantir and why I bought Palantir and specifically around those prices. The only thing I ask you guys is please leave me another like, it's very important and I thank you for it. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. Now, the reason why I actually do this base case scenario every time I invest in a company is because I know that it is great to actually go on and see the bull case scenario, so the dream case scenarios, and that's kind of interesting. I like to see the full potential of something, but the reality is that there are too many question marks, okay? And a company, as it goes on and goes on, continues to develop. Now, I make you an example. If you invested in Tesla like in 2015, 2014, obviously you were bullish about the company, but would you have in mind everything that Tesla did? Understanding the complete future of a company is actually very, very difficult, especially if a company like Palantir is very innovative. So they can like invent things and do new stuff that actually we cannot even imagine or think of today, okay? Or maybe they're not even thinking about them now, but then they will come. So when I invest in a company, I like to see things in a more basic view, okay? I like to do these base case scenarios, which in my opinion, they are useful to try to pay the company today not too much, okay, not to overpay for it. And when you actually get the right price for a company, then even if they do more than the base case scenario, all of that is a bonus for you. I don't like to invest because of dream case scenarios or bull case scenarios valuations. I like to invest when I get a price which is actually makes sense for a more basic case scenario. I don't know if it makes sense for you, but believe me that if you get the right prices, everything more, so everything that they will do more than your base case scenario, it's a bonus for you. That's why I'm doing this kind of stuff. So let's see what this model is about. Now, first of all, here we have the total customers for Palantir, which, as we can see, as of December 31st, 2020, we had 139 customers. Okay, so this is the last 10K that Palantir released. The first line, total customers. Then what we have here is average revenue per customers in millions. Here we have average revenue per customers, 2019, 5.6 million plus 41%, 7.9 million in 2020. So I put that number in the model as well because in my opinion is very important for the business model itself of Palantir, which they are working on contracts, 7.9 and 5.6 million as they say. Now this is the total revenue, obviously 740 million in 2019 and 1.1 billion, okay, in 2020. Now, going on, here we had a growth of 5.19% in total customers from December 2019. And so I put those growth rates actually going on in the future in order to try to understand in the next 10 years how many customers can Palantir really have? Because that's a key question to understand the business. Palantir is not a mass business, okay? Like, for example, I don't know, Netflix, Spotify, whatever you think about for the masses. Palantir works on contracts with governments and businesses, okay? Businesses, they're not small businesses, okay? So you need to have decent sized businesses in order to afford the high quality but also expensive services and software that Palantir can implement. So in order to do that, I put the growth rate. I continued around 5.5%, and then by 2023, as actually the partnership with IBM, we know that IBM is supposed to actually deliver the quantum computing by 2023. Now that will obviously increase the potential of Palantir, okay, the power of the Palantir software in terms of data analytics. So by this date, I try to put the growth rate even higher, okay? So 6, 6.5, 7, 7, going on in the future until 8, about 2030. Because I think that as of now, not many businesses have Palantir because they still have to take pace, right? But as more and more businesses will implement their service, and if IBM is also able to deliver the quantum computing, I think there are more and more businesses, so the growth rate will increase eventually, okay, and not decrease going on in the future. Because remember, this technology is something of the future, right? It's not now. It's difficult to actually understand and also appreciate. But I think that if the product is great, as they say, well, more customers will come. Now, just to make you understand the scenario, by doing that, actually, we arrive 10 years from now, 2030, where Palantir actually has not even doubled their total customers, okay? So in my opinion, it is nothing crazy about, right? Right now, they're around 140, and here will be 270. Now, the average revenue per customer, this is another key number over there. Right now, it's around 7.90, so we have seen a 41% increase. Now, going on in the future, I have put this to 30% the next year, and then fixed at 25% growth. In 2030, that would be that the average revenue per customer is around 76.5 million. And today it is 7.9. So this will be almost a 10x in 10 years. Now, obviously, here we have a kind of an argument, okay? Because I was thinking about when I made this. 76.5 million as an average contract. It means that a lot of businesses, they will obviously pay in terms of statistics more than 100 million per year, okay, to Palantir. So I said, well, how many businesses can actually afford this? So I went online and I tried to find the number of businesses that actually make more than 1 billion in sales. So it's not easy to find data about it, but from 2013, we actually have that almost 2,000 businesses, as we can see from here, 1,922 publicly traded companies in the world with sales of 1 billion or more. This is from an article on Forbes, okay, from 2013. Now, publicly traded. So Palantir doesn't work only with publicly traded companies, but also with private, right, and governments, okay? So in my opinion, when we take a look at this, the customers, so this is just firms plus governments, 270, and there are a lot of them that they can actually afford to spend 100 million on a contract, especially if that product is actually so good that makes your business or government be more efficient and stand out, okay? Actually increase productivity, increase efficiency, and make more money. If you just invest 100 million for a software that, for example, makes you 500 million in increasing efficiency and all this kind of stuff, so you actually increase the revenue. Well, so because of that, I keep it, okay? 76.5 million as an average revenue per customer. Now, clearly, you multiply that by the number of customers, and you have that the total revenue of Palantir will be around 20.6 billion in 2030. So that's fair enough. Now we have to see the valuation. When we take a look at the software businesses, okay, so the software sector, what we have over there, here we go, software entertainment, software internet, software system and application. Those are the average industry price to sales ratio, okay, as of today. We see 101 firms in the entertainment, 36 in the internet, 388 in system and applications, and those are the average price to sales ratio. So in order to do the valuation, I took 8 and 10. Okay, so if you do an average, actually you get that the average is around 10. But I wanted to take the 8 scenario as well. So we see 8 and 10. With the 8 price to sales scenario, we should have a market cap of Palantir by 2030 of around 165 billion. Today, it's 39.5. That will mean a 4.2x in return in market cap. With the 10 price to sales ratio, we have a market cap of 206 billion in 2030, and obviously that will mean a 5.2x return in market cap. Now, 14% discount rate, the market cap today, according to this valuation, would be 47.5 billion. Shares outstanding are 1.75 billion. That would be the fair price for Palantir today, would be $27.16 per share. Obviously, you want to take a margin of safety. And this is also because Palantir, going on in the future, can continue to dilute their shares outstanding. So in order to actually have a better return, you want to take a margin of safety, which in this case I took 25%, so pretty substantial. And you have a price of $20.37 for Palantir. That would be the decent price to buy according to this scenario that I've just showed you. For the price targets, let's suppose a share dilution of 2%, meaning that in 2030 the shares outstanding will be around 2.1 billion. So with different PES ratios, so 8 and 10, we have that 2030 the price target of Palantir is around $80 for the PS equal 8, and then for the price of sales of 10, Palantir actually $98.50 per share. Okay, now obviously if you buy at around a $20 per share, so near where the price is today, in this case you will almost 4x, and in this case you will almost 5x. So this is my base case scenario for Palantir. And this is why in my previous video actually I told you that I wasn't buying Palantir near $30, okay, or above $30, because it was just too much. I like to be conservative when I buy something. I like to have a base case scenario which actually makes sense, and then everything that is more than that is a bonus for me, okay? So that's why I told you that actually the around $20 price is start to be interesting, and if you get even cheaper, so below $20, okay? Now let's say the market goes crazy and you have a spike down around $18 per share. That would be an amazing price to actually buy Palantir in the long term and have a base case scenario which supports your investment. Now, my base case scenario takes into account the overall business model of Palantir, okay? So how Palantir approaches different customers. And as you know, it is acquire, expand, and scale. Palantir makes money only in the scale business. Now, this approach is actually able to create Palantir a moat around them, okay? Because it is expensive for Palantir to do that. And because of that, not many businesses, differently from Palantir, are willing to do the same. So this is the positive side of it. The negative side of this is that it is difficult to scale. And this is why I am not relying on the bull case scenario as of today, but I prefer to be more conservative. Because if you take a look at the biggest businesses in the world, their business model is for the masses. Okay, so you have Google, you have Apple, you have Facebook, Alibaba, Tesla, okay, sells cars to actually the masses. But in terms of Palantir, they're working with contracts with governments and businesses. So it is different from that. In order to actually become a $1 trillion company, they will have to change a bit that or find a way to scale their business, okay, even just keeping it, but find a way to actually do it in a more efficient way, okay, maybe as the market continues to grow, as they get more data and they become always more and more efficient in what they're doing. But we will see that, okay? So those are obviously question marks. And this is why I like to do base case scenarios, okay? Because if they will be able to change this or scale this at a high pace, then everything will be a bonus for us if we buy the right price. So I hope you find the video interesting, guys, and leave me a like and leave me a comment below. Tell me actually what you think about Palantir, and do you think that they will be able to scale their business in a massive way or not? So it's all about that in my opinion. And subscribe to the channel, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.